a new scary movie. Oma, I think how you say it. I kept saying Uma, but I think it's pronounced like Oma because it's like
Oh,
Korean. Because Sandra Oh said it a few times in it, which she's the main character. Real quick, we are the Spoiler Kings. My name is St. Kramer, Will Peppa MD. Make sure you go follow Will over on TikTok. That's what I need. I need your TikTok to put it in the description, dude.
I got you.
Get you that going.
Okay.
But yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna do this one. This just came out, and I wasn't sure what we were gonna do. I think you showed it to me. Were you showed
Yeah,
it to me?
but
Yeah.
we both kind of talked about it. That was like one of two movies that were coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, I was leaning more towards this one. Just because Sandra Oh has been kind of on a roll so far. Lately she was on. Or, I'm sorry, she was in the movie as a voice actor for actress
Turning red.
Turning Red. Yeah, Disney, big Disney movie. So
Yeah.
I figured, like, hey, you know what? Maybe she's gonna go 2 for 2. So let's review it. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get into some of the good and the bad and stuff like that, let's watch this trailer, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And then you give us a little breakdown of what
Pour
this movie was
shizzle.
about.
So we have Sandra Oh starring as a character named Amanda. Amanda and her daughter are living in a very quiet life on an American farm. But when the remains of her estranged mother arrive from Korea, brought by her brother, Amanda's brother, Amanda becomes haunted by the fear of turning into her own mother. I mean, isn't that every woman? They don't want to become their own mother. But yeah, pretty much she lives a very, very weird life. No electricity is allowed in the home, not even the breaker to be on. And so anyone that comes within even, I don't know, 20 feet of the house has to turn off their cell phone because she kind of lives this very, very strange life. Her uncle, right? I'm sorry, her daughter's uncle, so her brother, comes to leave those remains, and it's brought by like a mask, has like a very traditional type gown, and of course her remains that's like in an urn. And so as soon as all that comes to the house, everything kind of just gets crazy. Gets a little wild. Um, the movie has some kind of vibes of like horror. It has a little bit of like supernatural kind of esque to it. Um, but overall, it's I don't know. I kind of get the feeling this movie like is tied up with Turning Red somehow. Maybe that's just
Dude.
me thinking a little weird.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. I had the same vibes.
Because like it's with Turning Red, if you check out our last video, Turning Red's about same thing, a mother not wanting to turn into her own mother. Oh snap, did I miss that part with the little chick? Anyways,
Oh yeah, that was scary.
like the whole thing is about not wanting to turn into your own mother because of their toxic kind of way of living life. We have like a Pokemon that comes into the movie somehow. I think that was Ninetales.
Yeah.
Lot of weird stuff. How many arms is that? But the movie is called Umma.
Umma. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, dude, like you hit it on the head, like Turning Red vibes, but like increased by like 1,000. Like, the very toxic mother, and daughter kind of generational trauma. I mean, it was like insane. I'm like, how did she do the same exact movie twice? And one's kid friendly and one is like, scary horror kind of stuff. So there we go, Leon. Happy Monday.
They might as well have recycled lines or something. Instead of a red panda, it was a fox that was appearing in the movie, which was so brief, very brief fox. But
yeah, it was kind of so real quick, I thought that was the guy who brought the remains. I thought that was Amanda's uncle. Right?
Oh, you know what? Now. I'm sorry. No, you got that right. Yeah, that was Amanda's. Well,
I think so.
Snap. Wasn't it? Got me thinking. I don't know why I
Yeah.
thought. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. That was Amanda's uncle. So that would be, so Amanda's daughter. His name's Chris or Chrissy. That was
Hmm.
her what? Great uncle then? Is that what you call that?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
I
sure
guess.
how
Yeah.
family things work, but yeah. Um, okay, so yeah, that was Amanda's uncle, which is Sandra Oh's character,
Sandra. Yeah. Yeah.
and he
But
he was a character himself. The
oh
way
my
he was kind
god,
of acting.
dude, that was. I was gonna be mad. I was mad for her. Hold on,
Yeah,
let me turn
right.
myself around. Yeah, he comes in and was just a asshole. Like, man, but yeah. And he was
If
only in it for like literally a couple minutes, and he was a dick.
I don't know, I feel like with this movie, the movie was only like what, an hour 24 minutes as I'm seeing.
Something like that, yeah.
Probably including credits. It's a very short movie.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what this budget was like.
Oh,
The budget, in my opinion, seemed very, very, very times 10 low level budget.
mhm,
They used like one house. They used like a shop market type, very small mom and pop type shop, and that's it.
yeah,
And anything else that
yeah.
I missed?
No, the farm with the house and the shop. Yeah, I mean that's
Bruh.
that's really it. I mean, I guess there's a flashback to another room at one point, but
Mm.
yeah, I mean, you really don't get too much else. I'm looking at box office full financials. It doesn't say. I mean, it
Probably a
brought in
shame.
it brought in almost $1 million.
Almost. Look at that.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
so
you want to get down to the nitty gritty? You want to get down to
yeah,
the good
yeah.
things?
Some of the good stuff. Some of the good stuff for me, I thought was the relationships. I thought were good. Um, I thought the scary was not horrible. I feel like
Mm,
it could have got more scary, but I feel like we'll get into that a little bit later. But it wasn't horrible. I wish they would have like went a little bit more into it, but the scary parts, even the little thing, Sandra Oh definitely carried this movie because there's parts where um she becomes her mother, you know, and kind of changes as a whole character, So I thought she really carried this movie. I mean, she's the star of it for sure. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, granted, there was only the farm and the farmhouse, and then the store that they go to. I didn't feel stuck. I mean, it kind of made sense with the movie. It's like
right.
she was very secluded from the world, so might as well have the set be also like its own thing. Like everything
Mm,
happens in this little world of hers. So, but I like that they kind of got into different death rituals than just
mm,
American. You know what I mean? Because what we do in America isn't the only way how people, handle or they're dead. So
right.
and they get into like how Koreans, because in this movie they're Koreans. So I thought I really enjoyed that. Because like in the Asian culture, the Nine Tails is a big, Naruto, Pokemon. I mean, there's a bunch of other anime I can't think of at the moment that a Nine Tails fox is in it, because
Right.
I know it symbolizes like, like this uncontrollable kind of emotion, So,
Mhm.
and I'm sure that probably has other meanings as well. But yeah, so, stuff like that I thought was really, really cool. But it wasn't graphically crazy. Like there wasn't a ton of CGI and this and that, and I don't think you needed it. It didn't really need it. I think I for what it offered was good enough for what the movie needed. It didn't need to have like some crazy monster coming at you. Like in some other like Halloween or something. Like you didn't need that. So
Right.
um, but yeah, I thought the relationships were cool. Her and her mom, the mom and Sandra Oh, even the guy, the guy who sells their honey from the store, his relationship with the daughter and with Amanda, I thought was kind of cool. So yeah, it was. I like that, but like you even said, it was so much like Turning Red. It was it was kind of crazy, like how it had at least that part of it, the whole mother trauma part of it all. But yeah, what about you, man? What are some things you liked?
So some things that I liked that really stood out to me, I agree with you, were like the mother-daughter relationship. I liked how I almost got a vibe that Amanda, because of her trauma growing up, they kind of dive into that a little bit of why she's afraid of electricity.
Oh,
Has to do with her being abused by it early on in her life. And so, with that kind of childhood trauma, I've seen, um, even from my own experience, that traumas like that can really mess up your psyche. And so I almost got the vibe that Sandra Oh was like portraying someone who was maybe like a schizophrenic paranoid
mhm.
schizophrenic, or even someone with like bipolar disorder. And she did a really good job about that, because like there was times where like her facial expression, which, Sandra Oh doesn't have, she doesn't have, what's it called, hooded eyelids, or maybe she does. I forgot. It's something with her eyelids, so she's kind of
Mhm.
limited on her facial expression in certain scenes, right? Because of just of her biometry. Biometry? Did I say that right? Yeah, biology. Excuse me, biometry.
Yeah.
What the? Anyways, um,
Okay, I get
but
what
you know
you.
what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So with her being somewhat limited, her facial expressions were on point. So a little secret about me is that I've actually lived the life that Chrissy kind of lived. Not to get so deep into it, because then it's gonna bring up some traumas of mine, but I was kind of shut off from the world a little bit. I was actually told a bunch of lies growing up. My own mother, I love her, she has some mental instability issues, and she told me some things growing up that were definitely not true. I was told things like you're never supposed to drink anything cold. I was told that you're not supposed
Hmm.
to eat meat ever, even though we ate meat growing up, so I don't know how that made sense. I was told that there's microphones everywhere in the world. And I'm starting to think so now with freaking NSA. But regardless, before the whole technology craze, after the 2000s, I was told all these really, really fictional things um, that made me challenge what actually was true growing up. And that sucks as a kid to try to grow up and you don't know what's what, right? My dad was someone who he was in my life. He he was working a lot. My mom, being who she was, couldn't really work or be in a work environment without posing a threat to others, and sometimes even herself. And again, I'm not going to dig too much deep into this, but um, with that being said, I feel like I had to kind of fend for myself. I did have three other siblings growing up. They all, when they got of age, they all left the house, left the nest as soon as they could, and I see why. So I kind of relate to Chrissy's character a lot. To the point where, like, even nowadays, right? I'm very social now. I can make friends, no problem. But growing up, I kind of had a problem, knowing how to act in social situations. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
you knew about this, but like, it was pretty tough. So when I finally did venture off into the world, when I finally did rebel, and kind of like Chrissy's character, I got to experience way more, and I got a big handful of information that was helpful to me. I got to go to college. I got to do other things that I didn't think I was gonna do. So for me, this movie was really relatable. Just because of Sandra Oh's character and in her way that she really portrayed someone that was, mentally traumatized. So I think she did great there. The cast didn't need to be stacked because the story was so secluded and so,
Mhm.
like how you said earlier, right? It was meant to be, everything in a little bubble. So I didn't need big characters in the movie. I didn't need a stacked cast. So, but by that, I think they did a good job. Um, the some of the cinematography was pretty good, right? Some of the angles that they
Yeah.
used and the darkness and the whole like feeling swallowed by dark was amazing. Even the little CGA that they used on Sandra Oh's character, like she's a really young looking person, by the way. Even however old she is, she looks very young. And at the end of the movie, she looks really young. After the whole resolution in the movie.
Mm,
But in like each phase of the movie, every I don't know, every 20, 30 minutes, no, even every 15, 10 minutes, Sandra Oh's character kept looking older and older, and then you would see like her eyes or like parts of her face would get like wrinkled and whatnot. That was done on
yeah.
purpose to make her portray, as if she was turning into her mother. That was done really well, in my opinion. Again, you didn't need the most hardcore CGI. You didn't need, you know, the people that made Avatar to make this movie. So I like that. I think one more thing that I liked was the fact that they kind of like incorporated modern things, but like made it so that Chrissy and Sandra Oh didn't even know what that meant. So like
Uh,
Sandra and Chrissy, they have a beekeeping kind of business that was just kind of, they don't have experience in this. Sandra mentioned that, I'm an accountant, like I don't know anything about bees, but all of a sudden, boom, they had this beekeeping business and did a damn good job to the point where they were selling out of their honey. They went
yeah.
viral on the internet, and because they're so secluded from the world, they didn't even know about it. And so it's not. It was thanks to the shopkeeper that was like, "Hey, you guys are going viral. You guys are selling out left and right. You're gonna need to like, up this business so that you can keep up with the demand because you guys, there's so many back orders and whatnot." So I'm glad that they incorporated, modern themes to like an old school type vibe to the movie. And then that made such an impact. The fact that Sandra was like, I don't know what going viral means. Like, what are you talking about? So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about some of the bad things? What do you think some of the bad things were in the movie? What could have they worked on?
Um, I feel they could have got a little deeper into some of the stuff. Because it was an hour and 20 minutes or so. Which I kind of appreciated because in the world of these 3 hour long movies, like an hour and 20-minute movie felt good. But I just want I really wanted just a little bit more to tie up the ending a little bit better.
Mm,
Like I feel like if they would have gave us a little bit more of see, but I don't know what else more they could have given us, just like of Sandra Oh's like past, because they just show flashes. They didn't really show a flashback. You see little glimpses and stuff like that, and you knew what happened, but I wanted a little bit more of their relationship. You know what I mean? Because all you heard was words in her head, like conversations in her head, little flashes of like a lamp and an electric cord, or extension cord. Um, I think if they would have tied that up a little bit more, I think the ending would have been a little bit more impactful.
mm,
But and then it it was a little predictable, which it's not the worst thing if a movie's predictable. I don't hate it if it is. But I just it they do the thing that I hate in every movie. Supernatural did this for 15 seasons where they never tell each other what's going on. It's like, oh, I can't tell them, well, it is supernatural, and the show Supernatural was always like, oh, I can't tell my brother because of this. I was like, why? What in the past 15 years do you think that's a good idea? Like, tell them the truth, tell them the full story. And then they
right.
did that with Sandra Oh's character, Amanda, and the daughter Chrissy. I was like, if if she would have been a little bit, which she did eventually open up to her, but it was kind of not enough, and it was also a little too late, where she was already kind of angry, and I feel like you should have sat her down. But the backside of it, I get it's so traumatizing that you don't want to talk about it. So, I'll give it that at least. But I just feel like if she's your best friend, like you claim, like you guys are the only two people in this little world, then she deserves to know. You know what I mean? Because it's how it's affecting you is affecting her. You know, so that was kind of the bigger things was just like just talk to each other. Like you guys like literally read books together, and do all this like cutesy stuff. It was like,
Right.
but I get you're trying to protect her from it, but also it's like it's driving you mad. That maybe you don't want to become her, so do what she doesn't do and talk to your daughter like a normal person. So that was kind of like one thing for me, but you can kind of excuse it because of the level of trauma it caused her. You can be like she didn't want to touch it, but yeah, the graphics, like I said, weren't crazy, and I don't mind it too much. There was nothing where I'm like, oh, that looked really crappy. It was just it was enough little flashes, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just wanted a little bit more. That was my main thing, you know. Yeah, that's about it. Those were the two big ones where it was kind of like, I'm like, oh, I hate when just TV shows and movies don't do that so much. It's like I love this person to death, but I won't tell them about this. It was like, why? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just a trope, that you always see on TV and movies. But yeah, what about you, man? What are some of the best stuff?
So I felt like you, right? They could have gone a little bit more into the lore of even, grandma Uma or Oma, I should say. They could have kind of showed maybe some flashback scenes of her mistreating Amanda's character. I also think
Mhm.
they could have doubled down and gave flashbacks to Chrissy growing up. So Sandra mentions that she homeschools
Mhm.
Chrissy, talks about it, but like I would have actually wanted to see how bad it was. She mentioned about, oh, how many times I sent you to school and you came running back or whatever. How many times you tried to go make friends and you came running back. I would like to have seen that. As bad as that sounds,
No,
I feel
yeah.
like that would have added,
Mhm.
more emotion to the movie to where I'm like, oh damn, like, Sandra's character really did, try to, be this overprotective mother. And maybe I wanted to see like Sandra setting her daughter up. Maybe she gives her bad advice and it's like, hey, go over and talk to those girls and say this and that, but maybe like sets her up on purpose so that she comes running back home and has no choice but to be, secluded with her mom. I wanted to see like some school scenes, or I wanted to see, you know, at least Sandra, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but did Sandra ever show her hand to her daughter or like try to explain that part? They only
When
she
spoiler, when she's like possessed, that's the only time.
That's it, right? Okay,
It's the
so
only time, yeah.
I wish she would have like had a scene early on in the movie where like she wears gloves all the time or something, and is always hiding her hands, and then maybe she reveals like, oh wow, look at these burn marks or whatever. Like I would have wanted like more. Like I know it's a short movie, right, and you
Yeah.
can't fit all that in an hour and 20 minutes, but maybe make the movie an hour and 45 minutes. You don't got to make it 2 hours, but if you would have added just a little bit more, right? More trauma, which is bad as it sounds, but they're all about the trauma in this movie.
Mm,
If you would have
yeah.
shown that, it would have made me cared for the characters more. It would have made me like, I already cared for Chrissy because like I kind of could relate to her, even with the general stuff that was being talked about. I was like, damn, like that sucks. But imagine if they would have showed more of the trauma and the more times they bonded, Sandra and Chrissy. Imagine if they
Mhm.
would have like really talked to each other, or like or Chrissy not knowing how to speak Korean, like talk about that a little bit or something. They had really vague things they just threw in, but they didn't really like, reel it in for a bigger fish, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. There.
I wanted more. They missed the mark in a few areas where they could have, helped with, I guess, character development. The plot itself was you know. It was like a watered down Turning Red. It had good elements of like scary, but it was watered down for me.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I'm there too. There was one other thing I forgot to mention that I didn't like. I didn't like that the for most of the movie you're trying to like figure out, is she crazy? Like does she have a legit
Mm,
mental illness, or is she really getting like ghost, ghost haunted by her mother, and because even there's a part where something happens and Chrissy blames the mom, and the mom is like, oh, she's here, and she's like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you know what I mean? And I feel like the lack of communication like kind of caused that like kind of thing, but also it's like you're trying to like, is she crazy? Like, does she have a legit mental illness that's making her like a personality disorder or something like that, where she thinks she's her mom at times,
Right.
or is her mom an actual ghost and messing with her life, I mean, by the end of the movie you kind of find out which one it is, but yeah, that was kind of like the only thing that was kind of like, like, like I don't like when they use like a mental illness, like, oh, she could have a mental illness. It was like, oh no, she's fine. She's actually getting haunted. So
Right.
that was my thing. But I guess that was also a plot point, because the daughter had to figure out like, oh, she's not crazy. Like, we're actually getting haunted by my grandmother. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of where I was with it. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that like really like popped out to me, that we haven't already said. But
I got one thing I forgot. So the whole thing of Sandra's character, which is the mom, being scared of electricity, the daughter throws it in her face, like, "Hey, um, it's all a lie. You aren't scared of electricity or whatever, or you aren't blah blah blah, or no, it doesn't make you sick." She never proves it to her mom. She never like says the words like, "Hey,
yeah,
I turned the breaker on and you didn't do shit."
yeah,
That never got revealed. Maybe it was something that got edited out. I feel like it really was, but I felt like it was necessary because then
mhm.
that would have been a big shock to Sandra. Like, oh snap,
Like a
and then,
betrayal.
but yeah, right. And then that
Yeah.
would have forced her to talk about it or something. But
Mhm.
again, that lack of communication was
Yeah.
just another theme in this movie, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, very much, generational trauma,
Right.
like turning red, just done kind of crazy. But I did like the whole, it's not American stuff. So it's not like in Supernatural, like, oh, you have to burn the totem and stuff like this. Like, no, you have to like lay to rest the family member, otherwise they haunt you, kind of thing, So
Right.
I thought that was kind of cool. But cool, man. You just want to get into our ratings?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. You want to let them know how we do it?
Hell yeah. So, us spoiler kings over here at the Nerd Total like to review movies a little bit differently. So, we have, instead of the 5-star rating system, we have this bad boy down here at the bottom. So, we have 3 ways we rate this movie. The movie's either going to be a watch now, a watch later, or a watch never. A watch now means, oh my God, this movie's so freaking good. Drop everything and go see it right away. Spend all your money towards it because it's that good. A watch later means, the movie was okay. You can wait for it to come on streaming, maybe watch it some other time because it's not priority. And then a watch never means don't give this movie any kind of time, any money because it's trash. So with that being said, if you don't mind, I'd like to rate this movie first.
Go for it.
Um, and for Umma, starring Sandra Oh, I'm gonna give this movie a watch later. I was almost about to give it a watch never. I really was. But the reason why it did catch my later vibe was because the movie did have, a problem. It had a resolution. It had family drama, um, and all of that kind of mixed in to give me some entertainment. The movie missed a lot of marks where they could have like doubled down on trauma and maybe shown more of that. But it did have some different ideas where it kind of educated me as an uncultured American, North American. I didn't know that in Korean culture they what do you call it? Um, they what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of praise their dead, or they kind of celebrate or put to rest their dead in
Yeah.
a different way. And it's by a word called jesse or something like that, or we made a
Yeah.
jesse for you. It's pretty much you put like their belongings, their loved ones, kind of um, stuff on a table, and you kind of say like something a little bit different than you would do at like a funeral or a wake or anything like that. So I like that aspect. I like that it was different than the norm. So for that,
Mhm.
I give it a later. What about you?
Um, I'm I'm probably gonna give Oma a later. It was never. I mean, for me, a scary movie is always how it ends. Um, it was the whole time from the beginning all the way to the end. It was always just always in the middle. Like no part of where I was like, oh, that was super cool, or like, oh, that was really stupid. It was just very even. You know what I mean? Like I never hated it and I never loved it. But I
Mm,
did enjoy it. I thought it was kind of interesting. Um, like just how like not honoring your mother can actually like haunt you and stuff like that. And even the guy, kind of like made a joke about like, oh, I'm becoming my mom, and then it kind of freaked Sandra Oh out. So there were like fun parts in it, that were kind of like a thing that everyone kind of like fears when, especially when you're little, like, oh, I'm never gonna be like my parents. They're boring, they're lame, which is also kind of funny. The newest Simpsons episode, it kind of talks about stuff like that too, where Bart's trying to wear like a Supreme, kind of stuff, and Homer finds it, and the
yeah.
old people make something cool not cool. So Bart, kind of goes on, he's like, "You're not cool, you're never cool," as he's like talking about all the stuff that made him cool in the '80s. you know so it's like, that's just
That's
like
funny.
something that happens, like, oh, I'm always gonna be cool, like I'm not gonna be like my parents and they get lame, it's like, but it happens, so, but in
It
this
happens.
case, it's like her becoming her mom would be very not good. So, but yeah, it was pretty cool, it was pretty interesting, like that's the main part that I enjoyed from the ending, that like she kind of faced
Yeah.
her trauma with her mother, and learn to respect her. She, kind of stuff. Same thing in Turning Red is like the bad stuff doesn't, is not going to go away. You need to learn how to kind of accept it, and make it part of who you are. And you just can't erase it. So it was
Yep.
literally literally the same thing as Turning Red, almost. Minus the whole puberty part of Turning Red, but the whole mother part of it for sure. So I'm
Definitely.
gonna give it a later. I thought it was fun. An hour and 20 minutes or so. I thought it should be a pretty easy, especially if you like horror. It's not super super scary. So like my girlfriend doesn't like super scary movies. So this was definitely upper wheelhouse. If you like super scary movies, this is not. It's not gory. So you get a lot of stuff like that. A little jump scares at times, but you know. And then Rotten Tomatoes though, is a different is
Ooh.
very different from what we're saying.
What are they
So
saying?
oh god, so the tomato meter has it at 26%. That's the critics. There's only 23 critic reviews on it, and they gave it a 26%. The audience gave it a 55. So even the
Hmm.
audience is not liking it. Yeah, some of the big ones, they're just saying like it's not scary, the trauma behind it is, which it kind of true. Harmless, shallow, and dull, a squandered opportunity to create an elevated horror. I don't know, and also I don't know how you feel, but I feel like whenever they try to do something like this, it never works in America. Like Ringu, a great movie, and then like, oh, let's redo it for America, and they make it completely stupid. Like the whole 7 days is kind of cool, but it's nowhere as good as the Japanese original version. And they do it all the time. Martyrs, that I told you to watch. It's Italian, great. They redo it for America, and they have to put in all the American kind of traditions, and it sucks. It doesn't hit the same. And I feel like us being Americans, like, that's not how we bury our dead. That's not how we do this. That's not. And I feel like it's so ingrained in who we are that it's just like they're like, I didn't, like so many people are like, oh, I can't relate to it, kind of vibe. Um,
Mm.
which it could be, could be it was just kind of bland, but some of the other reviews. I mean, there's a lot of rotten reviews. The Collider said Uma was solid. Solid entry, strong, scary, and standout leading performance from Sandra Oh, which I'm there with that. Examines generational trauma, identity, and what it means to confront your past, and it does it so effectively. Which, yeah, I'm there too. She gave it a B plus. I'm not quite there, but I enjoyed what it tried doing to us. But yeah, but the critics didn't like it. The audience was kind of like right, kind of in the middle with it. I
Mm.
don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I was hoping this one to be really, really scary, but yeah, doesn't hit quite right. But some of the Korean scary dramas are probably a little bit more scary. So if you're ever on Netflix and want to watch a good scary like kind of film or series, some of the ones that my girlfriend watches, and I sit there and pretend I don't watch, and I'm like, wait, what? It's good. The graphics are good. The acting's pretty, it's CW kind of style, so everything's over the top, kind of goofy, but it's good.
Mm.
It's good. But I don't know. I liked it. Cool, man. I think that was it. And then I know you usually ask it, but will you watch it again?
Ooh. Surprisingly, I don't know why. I want to watch it again. Maybe one more
Mm,
time.
mm,
Yeah, I think it's watchable. I don't like again. I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm right there with you when you said I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but I want to see it again one more time. I want to see if maybe oh, okay, Alyssa. Alyssa has something else to say, but I want to see if I missed anything. Maybe something in the background. Maybe there's some like symbolism that maybe plays a part into the plot. Who knows?
yeah,
But I'd see it one more time.
yeah.
That's it though. What about
We
you?
got
Would
we
you
got a
watch
little
it again?
troll in chat. She goes, "It's not watchable." I don't think she's even watched it. Similar isn't in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
I
Give me
might watch
reasons
it again.
why you think so.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think she even seen it. I wish it. This is something that should be on streaming. Like
Mm.
I feel like it probably would have been better if it went straight to streaming. Um, but yeah, it was. I will watch it again. I'll watch again. There's like stuff I want to see. You know, see it a little bit more defined. Here's her reason why, because she's Alyssa, and
Oh,
what I
well
say goes.
well, there you
Well, there
go.
you go.
Cut in
That's
print. There it
reason
is.
enough.
That's the reason why you shouldn't watch it. Because she's Alyssa.
Yeah. That my
Okay.
ego tells me I'm always right. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. The
Oh, wow.
the confidence of being in high school.
Is she
Um,
is she in high school? I
yeah.
know she said she's like a minor, but I didn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she was
You
getting ready
should
to go
go
to
watch
college or some
Turning
shit.
Red. Go watch Turning Red. That's like your kind of movie.
Right up there. Her
Damn,
ego's higher than Snoop Dogg after a concert.
that's pretty high.
That's pretty high. Yeah. I don't know if you get any higher than that. But yeah, I will watch it again. Check out some of the stuff. The nine-tailed fox was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool to see. I want to see a little bit more of that. Like, I want to see stuff like of the daughter and her unknown history in like colliding. I thought that would have been a little more cool too, but I don't know. We'll see. But let's finish it here, and then we'll hang out and chat for a little bit if you're watching live, Alyssa. But we'll finish the review here. But thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on replay, appreciate it. Thank you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We're at 150 or so subscribers on YouTube. Just crossed 10,000. I think we're at like 12,000 views now. So we're doing pretty good. If there's any movies you want us to watch, let us know. We have a couple empty Mondays where we can fill in. But yeah, if there's anything you want us to watch, let us know. But anything else, Will, before we get out of here?
Nah, stay in school, especially Alyssa. She needs to learn something. That's all I
All
got.
right. All right. So if if you're watching live hangout, we'll probably hang out for a few more minutes. But yeah, thank you guys. And we'll see y'all next week. Later.
Deuces.